Is that Craze page?
Yes, it is. There you go. No more window. How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Projects. I'm currently out in BC. You know what? Every time I start one of these videos, I feel like there's a bit of an unspoken obligation to reiterate exactly what it is, where you are, what you're doing, and sometimes what you had for breakfast. And, you know, I put out a heck of a lot of videos. I'm trying to do a Monday through Friday schedule, and the majority of those videos are close to, if not over, a half an hour long. It gets a little disheartening for myself when I start thinking about, okay, I'm gonna have to push record on the camera, and instead of just going into whatever it is I'm doing, that nagging obligation tells me, you know, you gotta bring everybody up to speed. Everybody's got to know exactly what it is, what you're doing. Because I tend to start things in the middle, right? Not every single one of my videos is this is how you do this. More often than not, it's a vlog about my van life or just my life in general. And I might do this, that, and the other thing in said video. And it doesn't get finished in that video, but it gets wrapped up in the next one. Case in point, this video right here. So if you're just joining us, thank you very much for clicking on my thumbnail. I hope you enjoy the content. I do understand that not everybody watches every single video as soon as they get released, and that is fine and completely understandable. But for those of you that do, that are here, that are following along on my life's journey and watching every single video that I put out in sequential order, that's really what I'm doing this for. You keep me going, you inspire me to keep pushing forward, try to make better content every time I do push record on my camera, and I'm sure it can be just as annoying for some of you when I start rambling and reiterating what I'm doing. So if you don't know what I'm doing, check out the previous video. That will bring you up to speed. For everybody else, I've decided that I'm going to allow my stubbornness and work ethic to get the better of me. I don't know if it's necessarily getting the better of me or if it's just a good work ethic to have, but I am going to wrap up this trip by putting or repositioning my lithium battery into Lucky's rear end here. We're gonna move it into this area. It's underneath the bed, and I want it right here. The issue I was having, of course, was that my positive solar wire wasn't long enough, and I've got wire coming out of my wazoo since I ripped those other two batteries out. So we're just going to cold weld onto it and hope for the best. So I'll try to give some updates as I go along. Again, I'm not an expert when it comes to this stuff. I self-taught myself a lot of this van life electrical. I had a job that sort of allotted me a little bit of education, but not too much. So I don't like to give the exact, this is how you do it, because I'm going to screw up just like the next Joe Nobody. But yeah, I'll give you a quick update as I go along. I've been standing here at Lucky's rear end for the last 15 minutes, just sort of eye-jacking the entire situation as I do. And that's just part of my process for figuring out exactly how I'm gonna get this to work. Step one is gonna be to shut everything down in Lucky, turn off the lights. Oh, I guess I can just hit this switch, except that my diesel heater is currently running and I don't wanna kill the power. So I'm gonna power that down and get everything disconnected from the battery, get it repositioned, and then go from there. I should only have to cold weld the one wire, which is my solar, and I'll have to disconnect that from my solar charge controller before I start, you know, bashing it with a hammer. And yeah, that opening shot was me putting the rocker guard spray paint over the black paint that I put on this side window. Now, once this is dry, I'm gonna hit it with some spray foam all around there, and then we're gonna attach this piece of Pink Panther insulation board. There is all sorts of traffic on this road right now. Very loud. Unbelievable. You come to a quiet mountain town, still noisy. All right, so first thing here, I'm gonna disconnect the positive to my battery, which is this one right here. So it's the third one in. There we go. Now the next step is to disconnect the battery. We're gonna get the negative disconnected first here. It's a 13 millimeter on this Li Time battery. It's another reason I'm glad I'm moving it. I can barely get the wrench under here to get at these battery terminals. Ugh. All right, so the negative is disconnected. Okay, and then the positive. So on this positive, I've got obviously the main power out, and I got the positive for the shore power charger and the positive that we just disconnected for the solar charge. I'm sure you can have charge points running to bus bars, but that's not how I set my system up. So let's get all this out of here. All right, Lucky's got 0 power now. I mean, she had 0 power as soon as I disconnected that negative. But let's get the battery repositioned. When that sun comes out, it's real warm. I almost don't need this heated vest. Not that the heated vest function is on. As soon as that sun goes down again, though, or behind a cloud, I'm going to be crying like a little baby. Also, something I talked about in the last video was my 1-2 off switch here that was more relevant when I had a different set of batteries in Lucky. But I've made the decision now, welcome to the way my brain works, I'm actually going to remove this from my system for the time being. We'll still leave the switch here for future use if necessary, but with the amount of wires I have running, we're just going to remove it and clean this whole situation up a little bit. So got to take it off and remove the cables from the underside. Okay. Welcome to my brain again. Maybe we'll keep it. Hang on, we'll keep you posted on that. For now, I've just moved it over here. The way this works, this black one was the positive that ran to the battery, and this big double red one is what I was using as the power out to the positive bus bar. We'll see once I get the battery moved, because I also want to get a negative from the battery to the chassis of the van, which is this cable here that I taped off. It runs to this point right here. I want to get that attached to the battery, so some wires may have to get shuffled around. Plus, I need a wire to extend the solar wire. So the inside of my brain is fun. And the very rare sight of underneath Lucky's bed. Let's see if I can... Hey, that's poop bags for Penny's poop. Look at all these wood pellets that get trapped under here. There we go. Let's get this battery out here. All right. This is what the battery's been sitting on. It's just an old piece of insulation that was actually on the other side cargo door of Lucky. Because there's no insulation on my floor, I think I'm gonna have to cut this so the battery still has some insulation to sit on. Hello. All right, I got the battery on top of the foam board here. So I'm gonna pull this to the edge of the bed frame. And if I just run my knife right up here, we should get a fairly even cut. That'll be the exact amount of insulation I need to cover the bottom of the battery. And go. There's reflectance on the other side. A little bit of added stability. All right. There we go. Doesn't look pretty, but it's functional. See? It's like I'm in Alberta. Don't like the weather. Just wait 5 minutes. Or in this case, 30 seconds. Now originally I was gonna have the terminals at that end, but the way the wire length is and all that, and the wire that's connected to the negative on the chassis up here of the van, it's gonna make more sense to have the negative and positive at this end. So let's get her in there. Slowly, slowly. Hi. Yeah. There we go. Touchdown. That means I will have to replace the negative cable that goes from the battery to the shunt, and that shouldn't be a problem. I have this guy. Should be able to make this work. All right, you have to come this way, sir. Kind sir, kind sir. That'll work. Okay, sorry, now my brain is kicking into overdrive. Give me a minute. All right, so this is gonna end up being an issue. I can't move the battery any further back. It's completely pressed up back here, and that means that it's not allowing the bus bar cover to come off. My thought is it's got 4 screws holding it on, right? One in this corner, that corner, that corner, and then right there. Maybe I just don't put the bottom ones in. That way in the future I just have to take these top 2 off, and then this should come off no problem. But yeah, in order to get this off, unfortunately, we gotta bring this bad boy back out. My question is do I actually have to take that off right now? I mean, this is a mess of cables. This is what's giving me pause right now. All right, decision made. For the sake of simplicity, I am going to remove the switch from my current system. We'll put it in the garage and we'll save it for future endeavors. But for now, just with the way this is, I'd like to keep it a little bit more basic. So no offense to the very supportive subscriber who sent it. It came in handy while we had it. But for now, we're just going to put it into our arsenal as opposed to our functional system. This is going to be funny. I'm going to have a red cable for my battery negative and a black cable for my battery positive. Makes sense for my life. I may not actually have to. The cable that I was going to use for my negative, just because it was the old negative cable from the other batteries, my brain automatically assumed that I had to use it for that. But the one that I just took out of the switch is longer, and I actually do need a little bit of a longer negative. So hopefully... Ooh, the positive might not fit. I was getting ahead of myself. All right, so I got the case off my positive bus bar here. It's very simple. Bus bars just allow you to have more loads and keeping a little bit more organized, even though this probably doesn't look organized to a lot of people. But instead of having all of this on the positive of my battery, we just have them here. And one positive for my battery goes to here. In this case, it's this one, but this is the one that went out to the switch. So we're going to remove this and add our new wire that is going to go straight to the battery. There's no worry of being shocked or anything here right now. There's literally no power attached to this system currently. Pun intended. Everybody just calm down. This guy off. Is that all that's on here? Oh no, we got a little dingle hopper here. Oh, that's the shunt's power. Okay, that's fine. I can stay on there as well. Okay, now let's get the battery in and see if I can get this cover back on as well. All right, got the cover back on, just got the 2 top screws in. The bottom screws we've just saved over here in the garage door area. And then we got our positive cable coming right out here, and that guy's gonna run up here and attach to the positive on the battery. But first, I have to get a new negative coming from the shunt and run it over here to the negative. All right, so I got the negative coming from the new negative coming from the shunt. It's just sort of hanging out up here right now. We got our positive hanging out here. Battery's still not attached to nothing. I got my Noco Shoreline battery charger positive that will reach right up here to the positive. No problem, just had to reroute it a little bit. Now the hard part, I gotta cut this off the end of this wire, which is the positive solar wire, and we are going to cold weld it to an end on this cable. A little bit bigger gauge, but big deal. I never pull that much solar power as it is. My panels are 300 watts, and I'll be damned if I ever pull 300 watts of solar. Either way, the gauge is not an issue here, but I'm just gonna have to cut this wire because it's just one long piece of red cable, and then we're gonna cold weld it to that guy. And this is what you use to cold weld. I just hope the little butt pieces I have, which are down here, where does it open? Oh my goodness. These bad boys. I hope I can smush it enough to hold the wire in. First world problems. And there we go. A couple of whacks with the hammer inside that bad boy. And we got ourselves a cold weld. Now the hard part is I got to add it to the solar cable, but the solar cable doesn't come out, so I'll have to move everything sort of over here, and I'm just going to use this part of Lucky's build to hammer down onto. Doing shit yourself. And I'm not going to get too fancy and worry about actual heat shrink. I'm just going to use electrician's tape to wrap this new connection up. And then going forward, if I have any issues with my solar charging, especially on really sunny days, at least I'll know where to start with my troubleshooting. And that'll be on the new jerry-rigged connection. All right, and that was the most difficult part of all of this. Battery is repositioned. It's got a insulation board underneath it. Everything else has been rewired. Nothing left to do except reconnect the positives, reconnect the negatives, and then reattach that positive battery cable on a charge controller. So let's get that done. And as always, when dealing with stuff like this, cross everything we have, we don't burn the house down. All right, great success. Lights came back on. Battery is connected. Now let's get that solar controller cable reattached. Did I leave the screwdriver over there? Probably. Let's check her out. I sure did. All right. Go. We got our voltage reading back. Let's see if we can secure this back in its spot. Cool. We are all systems go, go, go. Welcome back, Lucky. All right, let's not leave that there. My goodness. Obviously, I still have a few things to do to get this sort of tidied up and back to the way it needs to be, but I'm glad that that is there. I feel better about it. I just get that naggingness in the back of my head when there's a project or a job around the van that I want to do. And I said in my last video, we'll worry about it maybe in January. I would still like to, at one point, maybe, potentially, redo Lucky's power system in its entirety. But for right now, I'm happy to have this here. I'm happy to have underneath my bed clear. In theory now, this entire thing can slide back and go into couch formation. Not that I'll be using that because it's a pain in the butt. Plus I've got far too much stuff on this wall here now. Anyway, the next thing to pull out will be these drawer slides, that big silver part there, this big silver part here, because those are 500-pound drawer slides, not meaning that they are 500 pounds, but that they can hold up to 500 pounds. That's some weight we probably don't need in Lucky's ass. But moving right along to the next part, we're going to spray foam that insulation board, since I was practicing and lining stuff up, to the window. So let's get this bad boy covered in spray foam and get them attached up here. Why is there a blue haze happening? Hello? Hello? Rub your lens, don't mind me. How's that? Partially white balance. Partially schmutz on the lens. All right, so what I'm doing here is essentially the exact same thing I did with all of the insulation in Lucky when I was building her. And that was to stick these foam panels to the walls after I had covered them in the rocker guard and whatnot, and before I put any sort of wall paneling up. So I hope this spray can is still good. I left it in the van last night, but I didn't have the heater going, so we should be fine. And away we go. Na, 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 na. Oh yeah. I'm a fan of the crosshatch pattern. Every once in a while I like to put little dots in my crosshatch pattern. Really make it overkill on the old spray foam, man. It's only because I have it, I'm just wasting time. So this spray foam is actually a really good adhesive. The problem is it just takes forever to actually dry. So hopefully this is the right way. So get that there. There, should be good. Yeah, see, so if I need something to hold it there, then I'm not gonna stay here all night. All right, put it to good use when we're not actually using it. Hello? Walk it over, walk it over, walk it over. Get in there. The other nice thing about this spray foam is that it expands as it dries. So obviously the VTOMAN's only pressing on like the lower half of this panel, but that's okay. This stuff will expand and fill those gaps as it dries. Hello? Am I supposed to use you upside down? Is that what you prefer? Keep those Alberta winter temperatures out of the van just a little bit more. I'm sure there was a great camera angle. I'm just giving the window a little bit of a rim. Never mind. Just doing little touch-ups here on the edge. No problem. There we go. Seal it right up. All right, so this is how we're looking right now. Not too shabby. This is gonna take a while to dry for sure. I'm gonna leave it overnight. This is paling in comparison to the way this entire space looked when I was doing both sides of the van at the same time. That video is here on the channel. You can check it out if you like. But as for now, we gotta let this spray foam dry. It's probably time to rip into town and get some ingredients for dinner.
I'm just wondering what took you so long.
I was farting around as I usually do. Hello. How are you feeling? How are you feeling? Good. What are you doing? All right, we're gonna make some tacos soon. Oh, nice milk mustache.
And I just got my socks off because they're slippery.
Oh, your socks are slippery? You better get those off when you're emptying out a grocery bag. You don't want to slip. Get in there.
Did they have some candy?
right. And, well, would you look at this? It's probably not getting across what I needed to get across, but that's nice and solid. It's first thing in the morning. There's an incredible amount of frost everywhere this morning. Coldest morning we have had out here in BC on this trip so far. But the tiny home, as always, is nice and warm. I had the diesel heater going all night. Gonna have to fill up that diesel tank again today. And I can move this VTOMAN now because this, like I said, is nice and solid. The foam set up overnight. So now that board is completely adhered to the glass, I would assume, unless of course there's a scenario in which I remove this and everything falls off. That didn't happen, so everybody just calm down. We are good to go. We'll take a look at this a little bit later. For now, I'm going to enjoy my coffee and go back in the house where it's, I was gonna say where it's warm, but it's BC in the mountains until you get that wood-burning stove going. It's a little nipply. One thing I'll do before I get inside though is I'm gonna start Lucky. It's been a couple days before she's had her engine running, so we'll let her idle for 15 and get her poop in a group. Hey Siri, start a timer for 15 minutes. Okay, so I don't know if this is going to work out. There's only one like building supply store that's near here. It's in the next town over, which is known as Silverton. I'm going to go there and see if they have any wall paneling. Obviously, it won't be the same as I used for this. I'm okay with that. I don't even know if this is a fail when I get back to Calgary if I would use the same one, because I'll be looking at this a lot more frequently. It might be nice to have it as a different pattern, but anyway, I'm gonna rip over there and we will see what we can find. And I'm just measuring it out here because I don't feel like cutting this myself or using my jigsaw. So I will ask if they are able to do that. Should I find something that catches my eye? Oh yeah. We also need to pick up diesel, and I would like to run Grace through the car wash just because she's still so yuck from all of the road grime from the trip here. Whee! And there's a bit of nice sunlight right now, so I won't have to worry about her freezing up too bad. Gotta see, hang on. Yeah, here we go. Got some loonies in Lucky. It should work just fine, provided they have the car wash open today. I don't know that they will. It is winter after all, but it was open yesterday. They got the sign out for the car wash, so well, let's go take a peek. Looks like it. Beware of ice. Oh, there we go. There. No point in bothering with soap or anything like that. Just get a nice rinse in there, $2, and she's as clean as she needs to be, because she's just gonna get real messy by the time we drag her butt back to Calgary. I'm gonna go in here and see what they have. I've never looked at their paneling before, so I'm just gonna do that and I'll be right back. All right, well, kind of expected that. They do have some options which would work if I was like out here for a long period of time and doing a build and had the ability to like finish The wood, they only had one that was already finished, and it was basically just pure white. I don't know how well that would look in Lucky. Watch this whole epic adventure end with me putting white wall panels up. But for now, I decided to not push myself and not invest in any wood that I would have to finish. And that is A-okay. So we will just let that ugly ass insulation over the window be part of the tiny home on wheels for a little while anyway. Okay, now I gotta go get that diesel, and then maybe go take a peek at the creek. Or not. It's that's how quick things can change out here. Stepped out to go down to the mouth of Carpenter Creek there, just to sort of take in the sights and wrap the video up. The wind kicked up like you wouldn't believe, and it's cold as balls. So that's not how I'm going to end this video. I'll figure that out in the next clip. I'm gonna get my diesel and I'm gonna get back to the house where it's nice and warm and the wind ain't slapping me in the face. How about this? Hello, darling. How are you? You just living your best life down here, staying nice and warm. You're not worried about the wind or anything like that, are you? No, you're not. Living in the lap of luxury, on top of a pile of my ginch, as you do. You're lucky it's clean. Now you're like, haha, it was clean. Now you will have tickly furs when you wear your undergarments. What? Miss Penny, couple more days here, couple more days, and then back to our tiny home on wheels. You disturbed me, clown. Can I help you? What? Penny. You're a nasty cat. You're a nasty cat. Yes, you are. Well, and actually, I forgot that my brother and sister-in-law were coming over with my nephew, so we're going to have quite a nice dinner tonight. Brooklyn's wearing a very pretty green dress. Gives me a perfect opportunity to finally put on... There we go. The solid black bamboo Dixon that I picked up when I was at the one-stop bike shop at Edmonton oh so long ago. Wasn't that long ago, I guess. It is a... definitely on the dressier side of most of the lightweight shirts I have, let alone my flannels. No time like the present. Now I'm ready for a fancy dinner. Anyway, I'm going to leave this one here. Thank you very much for watching. Until the next one, just go out there, be happy, be creative, be yourselves. Most important, be positive, and remember, only dead fish go with the flow. Well, I mean, I guess since I couldn't seal the new insulated window up with wall paneling, I could at least decorate it with something that I got on hand. Good night, everybody.